As the well-known story in the Gospel of Matthew goes, 3 Magi, or wise men, followed the star of Bethlehem to Jerusalem some 2,000 years ago. According to the biblical account, these Magi, sometimes described as kings or learned astrologers from the East, traveled great distances, guided by this mysterious celestial phenomenon, eventually reaching Jerusalem to consult with King Herod of Judea. After this consultation, they continued their journey and ultimately found the newborn Jesus in the small town of Bethlehem, presenting gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. While this story has been celebrated for centuries in religious traditions, literature, and popular culture, the historical reality of the event is far from certain. There is no archaeological or independent historical evidence confirming the journey of the Magi or the appearance of a star signaling the birth of Jesus. Nevertheless, the narrative has inspired generations of scholars, theologians, and astronomers to explore the possible nature of this star, raising a fascinating question. Could the Star of Bethlehem have been a real astronomical phenomenon, or was it a symbolic element meant to convey theological meaning? This question has captured the interest of both religious historians and scientists, leading to an ongoing investigation that combines astronomy, historical study, and cultural interpretation. Astronomers, in particular, have approached the problem with a desire to find a natural explanation for the Star of Bethlehem. David Weintraub, a professor of physics and astronomy at Vanderbilt University, emphasizes that if the account in the New Testament is based on actual historical events, it demands a rational explanation. If what is in the New Testament is a historical account of something, then that historical account requires an explanation, he explained in an email interview with All About Space. Weintraub notes that as an astronomer, it is logical to consider astronomical phenomena, observable, measurable events in the sky, as potential candidates for the star. Over centuries, many possibilities have been suggested, from comets and planetary conjunctions to novae and supernovae. But each explanation brings its own set of challenges. Today, with modern astronomical software and historical analysis, researchers can simulate the night sky from more than 2,000 years ago, allowing them to test hypotheses with far greater accuracy than previous generations of scholars could. One popular candidate is Halley's Comet, which was visible in 11 B.C. Halley's Comet has been recorded throughout history for centuries and is known to appear roughly every 76 years. Some researchers have argued that the Magi could have seen this comet and interpreted it as a significant omen. Yet, several practical and historical factors make this explanation less convincing. As the Earth rotates, a comet moves across the sky, which means it cannot remain fixed over a location for long periods. For the Magi to have followed a comet directly to Bethlehem would have been astronomically unlikely, as the comet's movement would not provide a constant guiding direction. Furthermore, in ancient times, comets were often regarded as bad omens rather than positive signs. Grant Matthews, a professor of theoretical astrophysics and cosmology at the University of Notre Dame, points out that while modern illustrations of a comet make for a picturesque Christmas image, ancient observers generally associated comets with impending disaster or political upheaval. The notion of following a comet as a beacon of divine birth would have conflicted with prevailing beliefs of the period. Another widely discussed possibility is planetary conjunctions. In astronomy, a conjunction occurs when two or more planets appear very close together in the night sky. Some researchers suggest that a rare alignment of planets could have created an unusually bright point of light, which might have been interpreted as the Star of Bethlehem. In 7 B.C., for example, there was a notable triple conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in the constellation Pisces. To astrologers of the time, such an alignment would have carried significant meaning, potentially signaling the birth of a great ruler. Unlike comets, planets in conjunction remain relatively fixed over several nights, which could have provided the Magi with a recognizable and consistent point of reference for their journey. Simulations of the sky from that era show that these planetary alignments would have been striking and might have appeared extraordinary even to those not trained in astrology. Novae or supernovae offer another possible explanation. These are events in which a star suddenly brightens dramatically, sometimes outshining other celestial objects for weeks or months before fading. Such a phenomenon would have been highly visible to observers of the time. However, historical records from civilizations known for meticulous astronomical documentation, such as the Chinese and Babylonians, do not provide accounts of such events around the estimated time of Jesus' birth. While this does not completely rule out the possibility, it highlights the difficulty of identifying specific celestial events from 2 millennia ago. Even today, scholars must rely on indirect evidence, computer modeling, and interpretations of ancient texts to reconstruct the sky of that period. Astrology likely played a central role in the Magi's interpretation of celestial events. These wise men were probably highly educated, trained in the study of the stars and their supposed influence on earthly affairs. In the ancient world, celestial events were often viewed as signals of political, religious, or social significance. A bright star or unusual alignment of planets could be interpreted as announcing the birth of an important ruler. From this perspective, the Star of Bethlehem may have been both a physical phenomenon in the sky and a symbolic sign, meaningful to those who understood its astrological significance. It is possible that the Magi did not merely follow the star in a literal sense, but interpreted it according to the complex astrological frameworks that governed their understanding of the cosmos. Reconstructing the Magi's journey also presents logistical and practical challenges. Even if a particular celestial event can be identified, it is important to consider whether it could have realistically guided travelers across hundreds of miles of terrain. Ancient navigation relied on the sun, moon, and stars, but precise geographic guidance was difficult to achieve. The Star of Bethlehem would have had to appear in a way that could be consistently observed and interpreted over time, suggesting a phenomenon that was both visually striking and relatively stable in the sky. This requirement narrows down potential explanations to events such as planetary conjunctions or sustained bright novae, rather than fast-moving or short-lived occurrences. Modern researchers continue to investigate the Star of Bethlehem using computer simulations, astronomical reconstructions, and historical analysis. By modeling the night sky over Judea around the estimated time of Jesus' birth, astronomers can examine which celestial events were visible and plausible candidates for the star. These studies suggest that a combination of factors, such as a bright conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn along with astrological interpretation, may have contributed to the story. Such a combination could have produced a phenomenon perceived as extraordinary and spiritually significant by observers trained to interpret the heavens. Ultimately, the Star of Bethlehem remains an enduring mystery. Its identity may never be conclusively determined, but the search for its explanation continues to inspire curiosity across disciplines. Whether it was a comet, a planetary alignment, a nova, or a symbolic story, the narrative of the Magi's journey reflects humanity's fascination with the sky and its desire to find meaning in celestial events. It combines astronomy, history, and cultural interpretation, illustrating how humans have long sought connections between the heavens and earthly life. The Star of Bethlehem stands as a testament to this curiosity, bridging the realms of science, history, and faith. It reminds us that even with modern knowledge and technology, the universe still holds mysteries that challenge our understanding and ignite our imagination, encouraging both scholars and the public to look upward and wonder.